It's the grace of the individual to accept that defeat, to put the country first, but also they have their parties with them, other leaders, whether it's Democrat or Republican alike, saying, look, it is time, the election's over, it's time to move on. We all have gone through the example about Nixon and Watergate, but it also means sometimes these presidential elections, at the end of these bitterly contested fights, still even the party said, okay, it's time to turn the page. Even in 2016, by that next morning, the Democrats were doing so. But are you seeing anything here that would suggest that there are other Republicans, real ones that matter, not just the occasional lonely voice, they're going to push the party and Donald Trump to move past this in the next election?
Yeah, it's still so hard to accept that. I mean, I thought after January 6th, when you saw McConnell speak, when you saw McCarthy speak, that was going to be the beginning of the leadership turning against him. And then somehow, it's not happened. And it can't just be a few of them. And we got to figure out, when is that going to happen? When is it going to break? And maybe the more this thing becomes clear what was done, you've got to believe that rational thought will come back in the minds of some of these people. But if not, then it's going to take the overwhelming organization, just as you were talking about earlier, organizing the country at all the levels so that he cannot win that election. If the party will not depart from him, then he has to be defeated, and the party has to be defeated.
That is the ultra-leftist Doris Kearns Goodwin, a Marxist media darling, saying the quiet part out loud. They are now openly sounding the alarm that unless they throw everything they've got at Trump, he's going to win in 2024. He's going to win. This Doris Kearns Goodwin gave away more than she realized there. We talk often about this phenomenon known as virtual politics. Virtual politics is a deceptive perception of the political order pushed by the legacy media that fabricates the notion that our politics are perfectly moral, perfectly fair, perfectly democratic, and that we're always a nation that abides by the rule of law, while in reality, everything in our political life, all of it, always operates in accordance with what benefits the permanent political class. That, in a nutshell, is what virtual politics is all about. Russian collusion is true information, while Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation. Burning down cities across the nation is a legitimate expression of democratic concerns, while a group of unarmed protesters storming the Capitol building is the single greatest threat to our republic since 9/11. Hillary Clinton deleting classified and subpoenaed emails was simply an understandable mistake, while President Trump's handling of supposed classified information is the single greatest national security threat we have ever faced. This is virtual politics. The lamestream media reads off of a script of deliberately orchestrated talking points that frame our politics so as to intentionally deceive us into believing that the powers that be are working on our behalf, when in reality, they are always working on behalf of their own values, interests, and concerns. What Doris Kearns Goodwin just said there was that the Republicans, led by Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy, they were all supposed to turn their back on Trump after J6. That's what the script read. The leadership of the GOP was supposed to formally disavow and turn their backs on Trump. There was no way he would ever get nominated by that party again. That was in the script that was written for the GOP leadership. According to Kearns Goodwin, somehow, some way, they didn't read their lines carefully enough. They didn't deliver on their assigned roles of controlled opposition. For example, just to give you a sense of what Kearns Goodwin is huffing and puffing about here, you may have seen this, but right after the latest sham J6 indictment, literally hours after Jackass Smith handed down another indictment, every single member of the Alabama Republican House delegation, all 6 members, turned around and unanimously endorsed Trump. The entire delegation. I mean, you don't send a stronger message of up yours than that. This is what Kearns Goodwin is freaking out over. What's happening now, what we're seeing unfolding right before our very eyes, was not supposed to happen. Trump is coming back. This panic is exactly what Brian Cates over at the Epoch Times was mocking the media for. They literally cannot believe that Trump is coming back stronger than ever. Listen to what he writes, quote, Right now, Donald J. Trump's opponents can't quite believe what they're seeing. Just months ago, the swamp denizens of Washington were breathing sighs of relief. They had done it. They had defeated the awful Trump, handed the White House to Joe Biden, and could now begin implementing all their cherished plans for a post-Trump America. And then an amazing thing happened. A twice impeached former president who had supposedly incited an insurrection at the Capitol building on January 6th has returned, and he's looking stronger than ever. This is what's freaking the likes of Doris Kearns Goodwin out so much. She and our elite establishment simply cannot believe that Trump is coming back stronger than ever. And so now they're just saying the quiet part out loud. We're going to have to fortify the election. You heard what she said. We are going to have to mobilize at every level of society to stop Trump. Again, so much for democracy, so much for the people choosing their president. This is what the British sociologist Colin Crouch refers to as our post-democratic age, where political decision-making is increasingly removed far away from the people and recalibrated around a tiny group of political elites. But unfortunately for the corrupt hacks like Kearns Goodwin, it looks like all of their efforts may be too little, too late. But while woke liberals are panicking, there is something that is happening out there that I think should concern all of us. And that's a very new and serious threat coming from woke corporations called debanking, where woke banks are increasingly closing the accounts of patriots all around the globe. And one of the most important areas of protest where patriots are deliberately taking their money out of these woke banks is in the massive buying spree that's going on right now with gold and silver. I mean, we saw this right after the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. More and more investors began moving their money back to the timeless value of gold. And gang, we've got amazing friends to this channel who can actually help you do just that. We partnered with one of the top-rated precious metals company in the world, Goldco. They've helped patriots across the nation move over $1 billion into gold and silver. You heard that right. That's $1 billion with a B. Click on that link below right now. And for those with retirement accounts, the patriots over at Goldco are offering you up to $10,000 in free silver when you open up a qualified IRA account with them. And for cash buyers, you're going to love this. You can get bonus silver just for making a purchase. So if you buy $15,000 worth of precious metals, you're going to get $750 in bonus silver. If you buy $25,000 in precious metals, you get over $1,200 worth of bonus silver. But that's only as long as supply lasts. So don't wait. Click on that link below right now. This is your opportunity to protect yourself from woke banks by guarding your assets with what patriots have invested in for centuries, the timeless value of gold and silver. Click on that link below right now. The establishment is looking at the numbers, gang, and they're reluctantly recognizing that Trump is in a better position to win the White House than he has ever been. He's standing in a stronger position than he ever did in 2016 or in 2020. They're most particularly freaked out over the latest New York Times Siena poll that just came out. It showed that Biden and Trump are now officially tied at 43% each. Now, you've got to understand how significant that is. Trump has never been above 41% ever in the New York Times Siena poll. Not in 2016, not in 2020, never. He's never led in the New York Times Siena poll. Now he's polling at 43 and he's tied with Biden. And the problem here is that it's the same polling methodology, right? You can't point to different survey methods in order to account for this polling discrepancy. It's the same method, the same sampling, the same weights, but they're getting radically different results. Why? Because as it turns out, while Trump is gaining in virtually every demographic across the board, Biden is imploding. Biden is down 30 points with non-white working class voters. He's down 3 with Latino voters. Trump is winning the Latino vote. There's an astonishing shift happening, an astonishing shift towards Trump, a double-digit swing towards Trump over Biden over the last few years. And Democrats like Kearns Goodwin are now openly saying, we got to mobilize at every level of society or we're not going to stop this. But it looks like it's too little too late. The Trump train is steamrolling ahead. The Democrats' nightmare scenario looks like it's about to become terrifyingly real. Hey gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but I broke free. If you too have been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building a parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech and give you the cliff notes on the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private. All with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. If you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click on the link in the description below. Don't wait. Join me and my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting.